Hokusai's 7 Falls and 8 Ups. Chapter 4. As the era shifted from the Bunka Bunsei period to the Tenpo period, Hokusai had entered his 70s. Through 4 years of encounters with the captains of the Dutch East India Company who were trading at Dejima in Nagasaki, the former Hokusai, now known as Ichi, acquired new ideas. He gained the creative power to objectively view the charms of Japan, and would later dedicate himself to creating the masterpiece Mount Fuji series, which would become synonymous with landscape ukiyo-e. The theme commissioned by the captains was to view Japan from a third-person perspective, a concept that is difficult to acquire without concrete experience. The skills that Hokusai acquired over 4 years blossomed brilliantly in 36 views of Mount Fuji, and it was so well received that it was completed with 10 additional prints. However, he still felt he hadn't painted enough, so he continued with 100 views of Mount Fuji, bringing this series of landscape paintings, featuring Mount Fuji and the people who work there, to a complete conclusion. As an aside, the satirical technique hidden within Hokusai's iconic The Great Wave off Kanagawa foreshadows the end of the Edo shogunate. The boats tossed about by the violent waves beneath the great waves are not fishermen but samurai. And the 3 boats are a mockery of the Tokugawa family crest, the 3-leaf hollyhock. The massive wave crashing in from the left side of the image represents an invasion from foreign countries, foreshadowing and warning of a crisis for the Edo shogunate. While seemingly detached, this satirical painting by Hokusai warns of the Edo shogunate's downfall. But it's likely that even at the time, almost no one understood or interpreted this intention. This continues to this day. Hokusai's hidden images are perhaps too profound, which is their occasional drawback. Hokusai's rebellious spirit is unique, and it is hidden within his compositions, with cleverly employed concealed techniques. The mechanism behind the Great Wave off Kanagawa is of course indecipherable unless the artist himself explains it. Essentially, it embodies a spirit of mocking authority, revealing his inherent anti-establishment nature. Around that time, Ryutei Tanihiko, who had become a writer and made his debut in the glamorous city of Edo, published The False Purple Country Genji, and became a popular author, captivating not only the women of the Oku, women's quarters of Edo Castle, but also the fashion-savvy town girls. Tanihiko, who resembled the protagonist Mitsuuji in his work, became as popular as an idol, captivating not only the bustling downtown areas, but also women from the provinces who had learned the latest information about Edo through the Sankin Kotai, alternate attendance system. The popular culture that had spread among the lower-ranking samurai of downtown Edo through kyoka, comic poems, and surimono, printed materials, blossomed all at once, enlivening the Kasei era. Just then, something happened within Hokusai's family. Hokusai's second wife and third daughter, Oe, were looking after the eldest son of his eldest daughter, Omio, Hokusai's first grandchild. However, he was apparently quite a troublesome child mentally, and was a nuisance to the family as an uncontrollable, dissolute grandson. And then, finally, the 4th fall. The setting is not Edo, but Uraga on the Miura Peninsula. He didn't come all the way to Uraga, far from Edo, just to fall. He came there to get away from the Yakuza, for reasons unknown. However, it wasn't because he was in any danger. Rather, his troublesome eldest grandson had gotten involved with a money-lending Yakuza, and Hokusai had become a target of their suspicion as the person responsible for repaying the debt on his behalf. So, he chose Uraga, far from Edo, as a way to hide for the time being. Hokusai and his daughter Oe weren't simply hiding in Uraga. They were staying at a certain place, a temple, in West Uraga, and to pass the time and change their mood, they were challenging themselves with a major work. The theme they tackled as a distraction was the Hyakunin Isshu, 100 poets, 1 poem each. Hokusai had previously attempted to depict this subject matter in his works, but the situation and emotions in Uraga were far from normal. Although they feel anxious and uneasy, wondering when some scary characters might show up, this father and daughter are the type with a strong sense of justice, and the more adversity they face, the more they rebel and refuse to give up. Distressed by the unfair situation he experienced in Uraga, Hokusai came up with the idea of using the Hyakunin Isshu, a collection of Japanese poems composed by court nobles and others over 600 years ago, as his theme to vent his frustrations. The idea came to me to have my daughter Oe illustrate and explain 100 difficult and sophisticated waka poems, which are extremely far removed from the lives of ordinary people and are hard to understand, and to create a series of ukiyo-e prints. I tried it out with the title Hyakunin Isshu Ubagai Toki, 100 Poets, An Old Woman's Explanation, but unfortunately, I only managed to complete 27 prints. Incidentally, Uba also refers to a woman who takes care of young children in the family, and this kind of wordplay is a testament to Hokusai's sense of humor. This wit is still relevant today. However, the famine caused by the cold weather in the Tohoku region showed no signs of abating, and the economic downturn spread throughout Japan, making it impossible to enjoy entertainment such as ukiyo-e prints and kabuki performances. Of course, the trouble with the intimidating debt collectors eventually subsided, and the publisher's support for the Hyakunin Isshu Ubagai Toki series also ceased. The two were forced to abandon completing the work, and it seems they gave up on it midway through, leaving it unfinished. However, almost all of the preliminary drawings for the printing plates have been completed, and fortunately, with a few exceptions, the original drawings are currently housed in museums around the world, including in the United States. On their way back to Edo, the two crossed Edo Bay by boat to the Boso Peninsula to refresh their minds and brainstorm ideas for their next series. On their way back to Edo, they switched their focus to sketching for the Chei's Sea series, once again seeking a change of pace. At that time, Hokusai had finally passed the age of 80, and calling himself Miuraya Hachiyaman and Gakyo Rojin Manji, his creative drive remained undiminished as he embarked on his final landscape painting series, Chei's Sea, 1,000 Pictures of the Sea. To backtrack a bit, there must have been a reason why Hokusai, at the age of 75, suddenly visited Uraga on the Miura Peninsula from Edo. Of course, he wasn't there to check on the shape of the Great Wave off Kanagawa. There were circumstances unique to Hokusai, but the background and details remain unknown. Perhaps having been entrusted to a certain family in Edo as a child, adopted, raised there, growing up, becoming a painter, gaining numerous experiences, and aging, he visited West Uraga, recalling the image of his mother. To be continued in Chapter 5.